Hey y'all, in this video, I hope to show you just how little time it takes to create a sustainable settlement in Fallout 4 survival mode. We're going to be skipping past all the intro and vault stuff. It really is not too important. Just know that I collected more or less the basic things, you know, guns, stim packs, batons. Anyways, in case you're curious, here are the special stats I use for this character. It's a pretty typical survival mode build. But with all that being said, let's just get right into it. Okay, so time officially starts when we gain control of our character right as we get to the top of this platform, so right about now. Alright, time started. Don't worry too much about the notifications in the top right, or top left. I'm banning, that's all just creation club stuff, I'm banning myself from using any of it. Anyways, there are 4 main things that all successful settlements need in this game. Crops, water, beds, and defenses. Crops also need to be tended to, so I guess that's technically 5 things that you need. But we'll worry about settlers later. Anyways, my goal is to get all these things as fast as possible. So I think we're going to start with beds and defenses because they're the easiest to set up early. Alright, let's get started. The first thing I do when I get to Sanctuary is talk to Codsworth and loot a few things from the Soul Survivor's house. These include the Grognak comic on the table and the Your Special book underneath Sean's crib. The comic isn't really too noteworthy, it's just kind of a small boost to melee damage, but the Your Special book allows you to put an extra special stat, which I decide to put into luck for reasons I'll explain later. Speeding things up a whole bunch here, and this part of the video is pretty uneventful. It's basically just me demolishing Sanctuary for the next few minutes. I'm really just looking for items that'll help us create some of the structures that we'll need to get some of these objectives squared away. But you'll see the first one I'm going to do is beds. We're going to need 5 beds in total, 1 for each of the settlers that are going to be coming our way later. But here I'm only going to build 2. So we're only, for now, going to be counting that as in progress. I'm just clearing room for them, and find this nice little bed, put that down right there, and one right there, and that's going to level me up. So here I've leveled up and I'm about to put my perk point into something, and after going over it in my head for way too long than I should have, I eventually just decided to put the point into Medic. Medic really is just one of the best perks you can put it into. A little bit about it here, it just puts a straight buff on your survivability by boosting your stim pack and rataway effectiveness from 20% to 40%, which is just godly. I recommend Medic for basically any build, any character. It's just the best perk. Anyway, back to your regularly scheduled program with me absolutely just demolishing Sanctuary. You're about to see me get 2 of our easy objectives here. I'm about to build some beds here, the rest of the beds. So that's 3, 4, 5 in total, and I'm also going to put some turrets on the roof to finish that objective off too. I don't know how well I can articulate what happened here, so we'll see. I'll try to build this water purifier, but for some reason it just doesn't work. I tried to go get the bottle from the workshop, and it's just not letting me produce any water from it, so I just end up scrapping it here. I try to put just a basic water pump in its place, but I don't have the gear for that yet, so I just go scrapping through Sanctuary again until I find the component that I need. 1 single gear, and it takes me another full minute in order to get it. I swear, this only happens to me. But as you can see, I do end up getting it here, and we place the water pump down, and moment of truth, just make sure it works, and it does. We are going to need some more water later, but for now, this is good. All we need is something to be able to allow us to drink from it and allow us to fill our bottles. And so this will work for now, but we are going to need more water later, and I'll eventually get to that, but for now, I'm gonna rest here at Sanctuary to save my progress and then start worrying about food, because food is another big part of this challenge. Or rather, it's not really a hard part, it's more of just a time-consuming part. So you see here, I'll talk to Codsworth to get the quest update so that we can go to Concord later. That's not what we're going to be focusing on right now. We're going to be focusing on going to Abernathy Farm soon, because they have a big potato farm that we can use to get tons of potatoes and just set up our own little plantation. But you'll see I just scrapped some of the Creation Club items that got put in my inventory, and right here I'm just kind of choosing favorites, just sorting things out. A few more things I'd like to grab before going here. There's this cooking pot here, which we can use to grill up some of the rad roaches that we've killed. Just gives ourselves a little extra food. And then over here is a really good piece of armor that you can get pretty early game. It's the Dirty Army helmet. It's just in this tank little southwest sanctuary. It is guarded by bugs and radiation, so be wary. But if you can get your hands on this thing early, it is going to be really good because that's just flat out 10 extra damage resistance. It's really, really good. Now, here is the route that I am planning on taking. So it's basically just a massive loop. I'm going to be going from Sanctuary to this Ranger cabin down the corner here. It's nothing really too major there, but next I'm going to be going to Abernathy Farm, which I will show in a moment, and really I'm just going to cycle back, touch Red Rocket Truck Stop so I can get dog meat and just have it for later on my map, and then circle right back to Sanctuary to sleep. So here we are at Abernathy Farm. I'll pick up some watermelons. You can sell it to this girl that I'm talking to here, but what we're really here after are the potatoes. They're worth the same amount of food, but they're much smaller and easier to more densely pack them in a certain, like a small area. So those are good. There's also this water tower here, which has a small little loot pile here, some water bottles, pretty good to pick up. And here we are at Red Rocket, which we're not going to be doing much here. First aid kit, pick up dog meat, the bestest boy. Oh yeah, there's also this drifter here. He has some stim packs and an armor upgrade on him. Make sure you get him looted. So that's the end of day one, basically. Just going to go to the beds that we set up and sleep. And I'd call that a good day. We managed to get at least 2 of our main objectives squared away, but now it's time for the tricky part. Freeing Preston Garvey and getting Sanctuary settled. Concord is ripe with raiders, so make sure you're prepared for this upcoming encounter. What the hell was that? I don't know. Anyway, we're basically just going to go in a straight line and then back again. It's a really basic plan for the day, but before we do any of that, there's a few more things that we can get done in Sanctuary before letting settlers in, so we might as well just get those out of the way. So let's begin. Starting off day 2. Basically, the first minute of day 2 that you'll be seeing here is just me fooling around my inventory, just rearranging some stuff, putting on some armor. Mainly, we're putting on that drifter outfit that I got from the day prior, and also equipping that pipe pistol that I got earlier from one of the houses. You'll also see that I leveled up here, and I went with the Scrounger perk. Not really too useful for the purposes of this run. What it does is it allows you to find more ammunition in containers. It's useful for the long term, but this is a speed run. This is only going to take so long, so not going to be getting too much use out of that. But anyways, it's time to set up our garden. Yay! There are these plants, melons and gourds behind this house here, the workshop house. I just store them and replace them with 24 potatoes. That'll leave us enough in our inventory for if we get hungry, but we'll still have enough in our garden for when the settlers eventually arrive here. I also create a water purifier to start upping our water production. We're going to need at least 5 water in that hot bar on the top in order to satiate all of our settlers. So upping our production is good, and that's basically what I'm working on. I just need one more oil, and there it was. So I go over here and put that in the water and attach a generator to it. Luckily I have enough materials to make just one more, and that's enough to power it up. Finally heading out of Sanctuary, and the road to Concord really isn't that bad, just some blood bugs, and I also pick up some loot from the Red Rocket truck stop here that I left behind. Once we get into Concord though, be ready for your first combat encounter. It is not going to be too difficult, but you know, just remember to heal up beforehand. Let's see how things went here. The raiders outside of Concord aren't really too bad. They still can kill you, no doubt. Anything in this game can kill you on survival mode. Just keep your distance, make your shots count, and that's really going to be going forward for the rest of this encounter and for the rest of every FPS game that you play, really. But you'll see press and finish, self the last raider right there, and we can do a laser musket. Laser musket, really good for this upcoming encounter. I also leveled up here and actually managed to take a pretty useful perk, Life Giver. Life Giver is just a straight buff to your survivability. I believe it's plus 20 health, plus 30 health. Just really good. I don't really know what else to say. It's Life Giver. Heading inside the Museum of Freedom, and I almost immediately equipped the laser musket to the favorites on my favorite menu. Laser musket is one of the best guns that you can get in the early game, and you don't have to worry too much about wasting ammo for it right now. Sure, maybe you'll wish you'll had it later after this mission, but for the sake of this challenge, I don't really care about that right now. So here I am, I'm just gonna make it my way through the Museum of Freedom and just kind of, you know, follow the advice I gave you earlier, just making all your shots count and all that. Also, make sure you grab the fusion core down here. It's going to be important for putting it into the power armor a little bit later. Don't worry, we'll get to that when it comes. You also see, after I round this corner, I'm going to switch to my double barrel shotgun I picked off of one of the raiders. Shotguns are just generally better for shorter range encounters like this one, so if you have a close quarter situation, switch to the double barrel shotgun. Or really any shotgun that you pick up for that matter. You'll also see briefly, I took some leather armor off of the raiders that I've been killing. It's just a little bit of extra defense that'll be useful later. Anyway, for the final two raiders, Molotov, they're gone. That's it. That's all the raiders. Preston is now almost officially free. It's just the raiders outside we gotta deal with now. I'm gonna really quickly skim over the conversation with Preston. Nothing he says here is really that important at all to you. We already got the fusion core, so we don't gotta get that. We do have in the corner of the room here the perception bobblehead. This thing is pretty useful because it's just an extra point in perception. It'll help you land vat shots easier, and it'll also unlock the rifleman perk if we're gonna get that later, which we aren't, but that's really, perks aren't really important from here on out. So even though I level up once, I'll be skimming over that too. Anyway, here's the power armor. Plug that fusion core in there, and we're gonna suit up into the power armor. It is not gonna make you immortal, but it's definitely gonna make you harder to kill. Just don't get too cocky in this thing. Even though you're in power armor and you have a minigun, you can still pretty easily die. Same rules from before still apply. Make every damn shot count. Trust me, you're going to want to preserve as much of this ammo as possible for later in the game if you plan on going any further than this. I, however, don't really have that issue, so I'm just going to take a level up there and just unleash. So it is a little bit of a power trip. Don't get too cocky. I'll say it again, I'll say it a million times. Once that Deathclaw pops out, you're again in the danger zone. Use cover wisely, let Preston take a few shots, do whatever you need to do to make sure that that thing goes down and that you stay up. Once that Deathclaw does go down, that's basically it. That's the last major hurdle of the run. All done and over with. Sorry, Dogmeat. You've been a good boy. And like I said, that is basically the end of the run. I'll loot up some raiders here, but once the Deathclaw is dead and all the raiders in Concord are finished off, you can go back inside the Museum of Rythm and talk to Preston. He'll have a little bit of dialogue you'll be forced to sit through. It's Preston dialogue, it's boring, it's uninteresting. Mom Murphy will also have a few things to say, but once you're out of dialogue, you can just run all the way back to Sanctuary, which I'll also speed through this because the walk back to Sanctuary is also pretty boring. So basically, time ends as soon as we sleep in the bed in Sanctuary, and once we do that, all the Sanctuary settlers will be coming over to auto-assign themselves to all the crops that we set up. So here we are, we just park our power armor, and again, we don't have to assign the settlers to the crop. They'll just, as soon as they're here, they'll just automatically start farming for us. So it's pretty simple like that. All we have to do now is just sleep in bed. That's simple as that. And we have our time. 33 minutes, 53 seconds. Awesome. In all honesty, this is a pretty fun challenge to do. I think I would like to do something like this again. Is there room to improve? Yeah, almost definitely. Probably could have chosen better perks, just better execution, better run. I think the number one thing that mainly held me back from getting a good time on this was just bad execution. I really could have done better in some places, honestly. That and the fact that I did this run basically entirely glitchless. And hey, I highly recommend trying this out for yourself. This was really, really fun to make for me, so it would probably be fun for you too, I would assume. I'd also be pretty interested in just seeing what kind of strategies people come up with. I just find that kind of stuff interesting. But anyway, thanks for watching the video. I'll see you soon. Bye.